Today we're visiting interior designer Isabella Gerstein's colorful 1950s home in Dallas, Texas. Isabella and her fiancé Daniel have invited us back for another home tour, but this time to see the house in all its Christmas glory. With a love for nostalgia, bright colors, and bold patterns, they've created a festive space that makes you want to stay all season long. From decked out trees to gorgeous florals, their home is the perfect take on a colorful Christmas wonderland. To watch this episode ad-free, scan the QR code on screen or visit homeworthyplus.com for access to all of our latest episodes ad-free and to receive other exclusive membership perks.
Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Isabella.
I'm Daniel.
Welcome to our home in Dallas. Come on in.
This Christmas, Homeworthy invites you into a season of wonder. Over the next 25 days, we're stepping into homes that sparkle with holiday cheer, where garlands tumble from mantels, ornaments hang like tiny treasures, and every corner comes alive with joy, merriment, and the spirit of the season.
And I don't know how many ornaments are on the tree. Last year I got 1,400 on, and they were made all over the world. There were ones made in America, Poland, Italy, Japan, just a wide variety, and I love them all.
We'll visit homes where traditions are cherished, where beauty is made by hand, and where rituals become memories that last a lifetime.
We make about 400 of these rolls every year, and on Christmas Eve, our family delivers them to certain families within the area, and our kids get to participate in choosing who gets them.
From quiet moments by the fire to happy gatherings around the table, we're celebrating the way the holidays transform our spaces and fill them with magic.
We do quite a dressy table because it's Christmas and it's a party and you want it to feel special, but you also, it's nice to make the table a little bit kind of imperfect, a little bit higgledy-piggledy. I want people to feel at a party in my home as if they're kind of wearing a ball gown but going barefoot. You know, it's that kind of high-low moment, the kind of specialness, but also the coziness of being really comfortable.
So pour something warm, settle in, and join us for Homeworthy's 25 Days of Christmas, a season-long celebration of holiday magic. To watch Homeworthy's entire Christmas collection ad-free, visit homeworthyplus.com or scan the QR code on screen. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
My name is Isabella Gerstein. I work at Living Modern in Dallas, and I'm an interior designer.
My name is Daniel Wenz. I am a real estate broker. I sell shopping centers all over DFW, and this is our home in the Devonshire neighborhood of Dallas, Texas.
Our home is a 1950s home. We like to think of it as a cottage, so that's kind of what I did with our decor, just very cozy, very warm and inviting.
I love everything about the home. For a small 1940s home, it's about as good as it gets, and especially as it relates to the holidays. There's nothing like being home for the holidays, and it's really hard to stay away when you have someone like Isa creating and designing and decorating these incredible cozy spaces. So we always feel comfortable at home with friends and family, relaxing and enjoying the holidays.
So my style for the holidays is a blend between traditional, whimsical, old, new, kind of like our home. I love mixing antiques. I love mixing new purchases, high lows, pricing. There's a variety of expensive ornaments, more affordable ornaments, and just a lot of different colors, a lot of pinks and greens. You'll notice, just like my home when it's not decored, those are just kind of the colors I tend to gravitate towards.
Yeah, we like the same type of Christmas, like 90s nostalgia Christmas, but Isa puts her spin on it, so it's a little more creative and a little more fun.
So for this year, like I mentioned before, our house isn't very big, and I didn't want it to feel overly crowded with decor. So I mainly decorated our front room, which just is perfect for Christmas because of our green wallpaper. And then I decorated kind of like our kitchen living space, which is where we spend most of our time. So welcome to our formal kind of front room, living room. This year is actually our second Christmas here, but it's my first year where I felt like I actually had the time and the mind to just decorate this exactly the way I wanted it. So I kind of went on Pinterest and started looking for inspiration, and I wanted to make sure that it kind of aligned with the rest of my home, but still, you know, pretty traditional, very Christmassy feelings, and like my fiance said, nostalgic. That's kind of the look that we were going for. I did want to keep this front room more pink still because it's just very green with our wallpaper, but I have a lot of pink hues and pink tones all around the room. So over here is our little pencil tree, which I have actually had this tree since my first apartment about 5 years ago. And the theme for this tree was, of course, pink, greens, and then I have a bunch of actually real vintage ornaments that you'll see around the tree. And these I sourced from Etsy, and I bought a pack, I think, of like 20, and they're actually real vintage. And then I blended in with some newer ones, some Radcos over here that I found on HomeGoods, and then I just made some cute little bows to kind of keep the feminine, kind of nostalgic, but also very whimsical look that I wanted to go for this year. And then for my tree skirt, I actually could not find a tree skirt that I loved. So I had some extra fabric in my closet that I decided to use for my tree skirt. And then I just trimmed it. I gave it some scallops, and it actually matched perfectly with my boxes where I have all my little gifts. And then of course I wanted to wrap my gift boxes and make them look special. So I went and bought some really cute tags. I made some bows. I had so much fun finding all these different types of ribbons. Some are shiny, some are matte, velvet, and I wanted to all just pair perfectly with the rest of the room. So for my fireplace mantle, again, a blend of everything. I did want to keep some of the things that I always have, which are my Staffordshire dogs, definitely kept my mirror, but to kind of make it more Christmas feel, I added a preserved wreath that I got on Amazon, and I wanted to make it even more whimsical. So I made that little pink velvet bow and then kind of like hung it up from there. I love how it looks. But I added some green tapered candles, and then I have my little like ceramic home collection with some of my little tiny Christmas trees. And then of course I've got these bigger, kind of chunkier, off-white colored Christmas trees at the end to kind of balance everything out. And then I found this garland at my local antique store, and I love that it's got a little bell just kind of spread out all over. These are just, again, more whimsical colors and decor. It kind of reminds me of candy. And then I wanted to keep kind of like the bow trend going all over my house. So I added 3 bows here, and then these really cool bells I found at HomeGoods, and I love how they have just very cute detail on it, and it's got the pink and the green, which is, again, the theme for my whole front room. And then I didn't know what to do down here, but I definitely knew that I needed something. So we added some big poinsettias, and we went with red to make it even more traditional. I did want to do pink, but I compromised with my fiance and we went with red, and I actually think it pairs beautifully with the vintage garland. It just brings out the red in it. And then over here, I didn't want it to seem so overly saturated. I still wanted it to feel very cozy, very much like my home. So I try to do every decor mindfully. I didn't want to overly do it, but I also wanted it to feel very special. So over here, to kind of zhuzh up my oyster plates, I did this trim with some velvet ribbon, and then again, another bow because I can't get enough of the bows. But I feel like this kind of adds a little bit more of a Christmas feel without it being too dramatic. And then around my house, I'll just have some little Christmas tree details. I have some kind of pink chocolate birthday cake candy here that in my previous video, I told you I swap out every holiday with kind of new candies and just whatever we're liking during the season. This is actually a new stool that I just got on Facebook Marketplace. And this was not the fabric that it had on it. I actually found this fabric online. I fell in love with it, so I bought a few yards of it. I got this reupholstered, and then what I like to do with the remaining fabric is either create some kidney pillows or some throw pillows. So in this case, I did the throw pillow. I went the throw pillow route with my new velvet sofa over here that I'm obsessed with. It's actually more of a love seat because it's a little bit smaller than a traditional sofa. But because this room is smaller, I didn't want it to feel too crowded, so I went with a love seat size. And then, like I mentioned, I did some extra throw pillows with that fabric, and I love it. I just love how the green pairs perfectly with the green wallpaper. There's yellows in here, there's purples, there's pinks. And then I had to get these at World Market. These are just some needlepoint holiday pillows. They say, let's get merry, and I just love them. I love the little Christmas lights and the coloring. So that was something that I knew I wanted to get, something that was very kind of nostalgic to pair with more of a whimsical look and kind of keep the traditional colors going. And then to my sideboard, which normally looks kind of similar, but I added this really fun tinsel tree that I found at Target actually. And then all of these tiny glass ornaments I wanted to add. It didn't come with any, but I just felt like it gave it more of the Christmas look and made it look more like a Christmas tree. And then I have my little felt nutcracker over here that I absolutely love. It's actually super thin, but I love the coloring. I think just the golds and the traditional color and the wreath. He's holding a little wreath. It's super cute. And then with the rest of my miniature ornaments, because I went kind of crazy, I bought way too many ornaments. I had a lot of them left, and I just didn't want to saturate that little tree or my other tree. I decided to just put my little ornaments in some dish bowls that I had. So I had this vintage one that I found this year, and I added some little ornaments to it, and I think it looks really cute. It's kind of like candy. But for this room, that's kind of it. My Christmas tree, like I said, I wanted it to feel like the rest of the room, which is vintage, colors, pinks, greens. And then whimsical was my main theme for this room. Whimsical and traditional, but mainly whimsical. That's why there's a lot of bows and a lot of pinks and a lot of kind of girlier tones. But this was really what I wanted to bring into this front room. So now follow me into my kitchen and living room space. So now we're in our kitchen, which is where we spend a lot of our time. I love cooking, I love baking. We have actually some cookies I made this morning. And then I like to throw in some candy. We've got some candy canes over here. But this is really where we like to create all of our traditions. We've hosted, like I said, Thanksgiving, not Christmas yet. But we host our friends, we host our family all the time for dinners. We love having breakfast here on Sundays. So this is really a very special place for us. And I didn't decorate this with a lot of Christmas stuff just because, like I said, we cook a lot. So I do need a lot of counter space. But the sweet decors that I picked were just this really fun Laura Park paper tree. I have a few of these around the house. We'll see some in my dining table. And they're super easy to assemble, and I just think they add the perfect Christmas touch. But in this kitchen space, something that's a little bit different from last time, I did change my pendants. The pendants that I had in before were from the previous owner, and I loved them, but I knew I kind of wanted to add a little bit of my twist. So I found these actually on Home Depot, and they're an incredible price. They're kind of just like a lantern, pagoda style, which is what I've got going on in the rest of the home. And then I do love that they're all glass. It just feels like it brings in a lot more light, and it makes the room feel even bigger because you can see through them. But this is what I've got going on in our kitchen. I mean, we've got some fresh basil over here. I love having herbs in our front lawn. We have some in our backyard. I have some in here because, like I said, this is really where we spend a lot of our time with family, friends, and just as a couple cooking at night. So I'm gonna take you over to my dining space. So last time I had my table covered, and I do this sometimes. I do love my table though, and I felt like for Christmas, it gives it more of the rustic look because it is a kind of more weathered wood. So what I did this year for our table setting is instead of covering it with a tablecloth, I went ahead and used a table runner. And that way the wood is exposed. And like I mentioned in the previous tour, these are actually antique French picket fences, which is super neat. I found this table on Facebook Marketplace, which is somewhere I like to source some of my items. And sometimes you just get really lucky like I did with this table. So I love this table. It's got greens, it's got browns. So again, for my table setting, I did want to go with more pink. I'm pretty pink obsessed at the moment. We'll see how long that lasts. But I found these really cute bow napkin holders at HomeGoods. Same with these plates. And then my silverware and glassware are actually wedding registry gifts, which we're getting in now. We're getting married in 2 months, which has been really fun to get surprises in the mail. But for this whole setup, I kind of wanted it to feel very cozy, very whimsical. So we went with the scalloped napkin, the really cute kind of bow, and then the plates are actually they're covered with the napkin, but they're really sweet. They've got a very cute design on them with a pink little Christmas tree and some doves and gifts. So I wanted it to feel also very freeing in a way. I didn't want to overcrowd the table, which is why I chose to just do kind of like the traditional setting. And then for the centerpieces, I've got some hydrangeas or 2 little lights. When it's dark out or when it's night out, we like to just turn these on for additional lighting and then dim the rest for more of a moodier look. And then we've got a set of the Laura Park paper trees that I had on my kitchen island. These are just a smaller, kind of a little bit more different version. But again, like I said, these are awesome. I love how easy they were to set up, and they just add the perfect touch and fill in just the perfect amount of space on our dining table.
Making this house a home together has been an incredible experience. You know, Issa's the creative one, so she's really taken the lead. And I've just sat back and kind of gotten to live in it, experience it. But it's been really great watching it come to life.
And it's been really nice having someone let you do kind of whatever you want to do and trust you. And I think just the final creation just turned out so beautifully, and I love coming home every day, and I think it's our favorite place to be in.
100%.
So I think what we're looking forward to most in this home or with this home is creating new memories, one day having a little family here. We love hosting. We've hosted Thanksgiving a couple times now. We love hosting our friends, creating new traditions, and just having more holidays in this beautiful space that we get to live in.
I agree. I think the memories I'm looking the most forward to creating here are holidays, current and future. There's been a lot of special memories in the history of the house. The people that owned the house before us got married in the backyard, and just thinking about how many different families have had Thanksgivings and Christmases here, it makes me excited to have our family and friends come and celebrate and come together.
So now we're gonna go to our living room. Welcome to our living room, which is the second place we spend, or maybe third place we spend most of our time in. Of course, our Christmas tree, which is the main attraction in this space. We just bought this Christmas tree. I was on the fence of getting a flock tree or just a plain tree, but we wanted to add more of a whimsical touch and traditional look, and we felt like the snow and the twinkling lights were such a special touch. So as far as ornaments, I've been collecting now for about 6 years, and every year I have a different idea of what I want to buy, and then I end up buying the same thing, which is just Santa Clauses. At this point, I think our theme is just having a bunch of different Santa Clauses. We love glass ornaments, and we have, like I said, same with the front room. We've got some expensive ornaments. We've got some very affordable ornaments. They look the same. So honestly, I'm not the type to spend that much on my ornaments. I would rather just get more in quantity, but there are a lot of really good places you could go. There's Home Goods, there's Target, the list goes on and on, but we really wanted it to feel more of like a traditional Christmas, so we went with the traditional Santa Clauses, which most of our tree has more reds and greens, but of course I still had to add my pink. So we have a very cool bow, velvet bow, pink bow, kind of draped over the tree. And this actually was made by me and my friend. We love having craft nights. So one of our nights recently was creating some bows for our trees. So I wanted to bring in the whimsical over here, even though this room, I wanted it to feel a little bit more traditional as far as coloring goes. But I think my best tip in creating your collection is just by, if you see it and you love it, get it. But do not feel like you have to go and spend so much money on an ornament, because honestly, you can't really tell the difference. But like I said, Home Goods is a great space. Most of my ornaments will be from Home Goods. There's also Hobby Lobby. I mean, I could go on about where I buy my ornaments, but it's just really about where you want to go and have fun. Bring your fiance, bring your friends, bring your mom, and it's just about the experience. So that's my tip for Christmas and how to kind of acquire your ornaments and your decor. I think every year you kind of buy little and little, and then you start creating your collection. So over here for this fireplace, I had a lot of ideas. I wanted it, of course, to match with the tree and the front room and the whimsical and the traditional, but I also wanted to add some specific touches. So I went to Hobby Lobby and I found some fruits. So I thought it'd be a really cool idea to add fruits around the garland and my fireplace. So I've got some oranges, I've got some lemons, I've got some strawberries, but then again, keep the traditional with the nutcracker ornament. And then I found this really cute kind of pagoda ginger jar over here. So there's just a blend of all these different styles and colors to create kind of this cozy Christmas vibe, which is what we really wanted to do this year. And then I kept, like I said, in my front room, I didn't want to just totally take everything out and bring new stuff in. So I kept my pagodas that I always have, and then I just incorporated our Christmas trees. I found these really cute houses with glitter. I think those were from Michael's. And then all of these little trees are from either Hobby Lobby or Michael's or just World Market. I really love to find accessories and decor that's not going to break the bank, because I just don't think that's the way to go. But that's me. And then of course we have our stockings, which I was so excited to do this year. I actually bought these from Laura Park, and then I got them embroidered at our local seamstress, and then we have one for our dog, who's Bo, and then me and Daniel, and I just think it's the sweetest touch. I went again with the pink and the greens because I really like everything to pair together, and I want it to just flow. So I didn't want to just bring in all these different colors that just don't go with my home. I want something that will go for generations, and I don't have to keep constantly purchasing new things. So everything is very intentional, and the colors are just going together with everything else that I've got. So then on my coffee table over here, what I added was this really cute nutcracker that I found on Etsy. It's hand painted, which I thought was really neat. Again, it goes with my decor, and then the coloring was just super sweet. There's pinks, there's blues. He's got a little drum. I love kind of like the crazy hair. It's just really fun, and I think, again, it goes beautifully with what I already had. And then I still had more remaining tiny ornaments, so I put them in a different bowl. This time we went for a cabbage bowl. And I think it's just such a fun idea. Again, it reminds me of candy, but I think it would be really fun if you had people over, and maybe as a little party favor, you could give them a little ornament to take home, and that's just something that would be super sweet, and they would just remember you for that. But lastly, over here in my fireplace, I kind of did the same thing that I had in the front room. So I bought 2 poinsettias. We did a pink one, and then we did a red one. I finally got my pink poinsettia, but this one has a little bit of glitter, which is really fun. And then the red one is going to be more of the traditional one. And I just think it pairs everything beautifully. Again, the pink tree bow and then the red ornaments. My Christmas skirt down there is also Laura Park. That matches my stockings, which is great. It just looks very nice and flows perfectly. Again, some scallops because I do love scallops. So I also wanted to find wrapping paper that was more subtle but still fun. So I found this one, I think at Home Goods. And then I added the pops of pinks and the little glitter bow. And I think that just makes it super sweet. So that is what I've got for Christmas decor. Like I said in my front room, I didn't want to overly do it to where it felt not me. I still wanted everything to feel like my home, just even better and even more in the holiday spirit. So home to me is coziness, it's love, it's warmth, it's just being able to come home to a safe space.
Yeah, I agree. Home to me is a safe space first and foremost, where you can, after a long day of work or a extended social interaction, come home, kick your feet up, have a drink, turn on the fireplace, and relax.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.